If today were the final days of your life, what would you regret the most? The money sitting in your bank account, the title on your office door, the luxury home you worked so hard for, or the simple moments you lost with family and friends? I asked myself this question after meeting an 86-year-old man in the hospital. He was in the last days of his life, and through pain and regret, he shared a message so profound it can change the way you look at success, happiness, and the rest of your own journey. And you are watching Next Chapter 50, where the second half of life becomes a brand new beginning. A few weeks ago, I went to the hospital to visit a friend who had just undergone surgery. He had been placed in a shared room, separated only by a thin curtain. As I sat by his bed, I noticed the man lying in the other bed. He was 86 years old, frail, and clearly in the final days of his life. My friend had already spoken with him over the past few days, and soon I began to talk with him as well. What he shared in that quiet hospital room is something I will never forget. The old man began to tell the story of his life with eyes that carried both pride and sorrow. A past that once drew admiration from many. He had been one of the most successful figures in his field. From the earliest years of his career, he worked relentlessly to climb each rung of the ladder of ambition. And before long, he held prestigious titles, sat on influential boards, and became a respected voice in his industry. He did not only have titles, but also the kind of wealth most people could only dream of. His house stood by the river, with spacious, luxurious rooms adorned with expensive furnishings. Beside it was a gleaming white yacht, where he once hosted lavish parties for people of status and power. His life was a seamless blend of money, power, and fame, all of it painting the image of a man who seemed to have everything. He confessed that he once felt as though he stood at the top of the world, a place where every door opened simply because of his name and title. He knew countless people in business, politics, and culture, often invited to private gatherings where only millionaires and billionaires were present. He could go anywhere, dine in any restaurant, and buy anything he desired. To the outside world, all of this was undeniable proof of absolute success. Yet as he recalled these memories, his voice grew heavy, because behind the bright lights were countless things he had lost. He once believed that career and wealth were the only measures of his worth, that another contract, another project, another powerful connection would bring him closer to happiness. What he failed to realize was that, as he built his empire, his time with his family slipped away. Family dinners grew empty without him. Birthdays his children longed for him to attend became moments of disappointment. Still, he kept running in the endless cycle of work, convinced that a multi-million-dollar deal or another glamorous party mattered more than those fleeting moments. Even with everything he owned, he admitted he had never felt satisfied, never truly content. Every milestone achieved only fueled the urge to set a higher one, trapping him in a race with no finish line. Now, as he sat in his hospital bed, frail and weakened, he bitterly realized that all that glory had been nothing more than a fragile shell. Money, houses, yachts, and titles could not ease his loneliness, could not buy back the years lost with family and friends, could not restore the health that slipped further away each day. He said that if he could turn back time, he would gladly trade it all for one more simple evening around the dinner table with his children, to hold his wife's hand on a quiet afternoon, or to savor just one more complete family meal. If you enjoyed this video, press subscribe. If not, press like. The price the old man paid for a lifetime of chasing wealth and status was far too great, and only as he sat in his hospital bed did he dare to face it with both bitterness and regret. He admitted that his marriages had ended in failure twice, as the women who once stood by his side eventually left. Unable to endure his constant absence, his emotional distance, and his skewed priorities, he had never truly been present for his family. Promises to take his wife and children out were always replaced by endless meetings, lavish parties, or exhausting business trips. His first marriage collapsed at the height of his career, his wife walking away with sorrow and disappointment, leaving behind children who longed for a father's love, but rarely had it because he was always too busy. Later he remarried, but the story repeated itself because he did not change. He threw himself deeper into work, endlessly trying to prove himself in the marketplace, blind to the fact that at home there was a woman feeling abandoned day after day. The second marriage also ended, carving another wound into his life. But even then he did not stop. His children grew up in an emotional void, gradually drifting away, no longer sharing with him, no longer seeking him as a source of comfort. He admitted that by the end of his life, there had only been a handful of rare moments when he truly sat and listened to his children, while most of the time, it was rushed conversations or broken promises. Because of this, many of them chose to turn their backs on him, leaving a distance that could never be bridged. As for friends, he once believed he had a vast network, but in reality, most were merely business contacts. When he withdrew because of illness, almost no one reached out. The same people who once clinked glasses with him at grand parties and laughed in his company now vanished without a word. It was only then that he understood how rare and precious true friends really are and how few he had kept. Above all, what pained him most was his health. He had spent his youth and energy trading it for money and prestige, ignoring the warning signs his body gave him. Sleepless nights, endless flights, crushing stress slowly eroded his strength. His hair turned gray too soon, nagging aches went unchecked, and now they had all piled up into a weight that left him exhausted and frail. He said that money could buy the best medicine and the most comfortable hospital room, but it could never restore youth or bring back a healthy body. The price he paid was not only 2 broken marriages, estranged children, and vanished friends, but also his very health and the years of peace he had lost forever. In his final days, the old man uttered a confession that left anyone who heard it in deep silence and reflection. He said that everything he had worked so hard to build throughout his life, money, fame, luxurious homes, and gleaming yachts, now meant nothing to him. He would willingly give it all away, every dollar in his accounts, every piece of land, every car, every glittering title, just to regain his health and to once more live simple, warm days surrounded by his family. He admitted that during the years of chasing ambition, he never once imagined this moment would come. The moment of lying weak and frail in a hospital bed, with no one by his side and all that he once possessed reduced to fading memories. He once believed that wealth could buy happiness, that high titles would bring him respect. But as he lay there listening to the cold hum of hospital machines, he finally understood that happiness cannot be bought, love cannot be replaced, and health is the most priceless treasure. Once lost, nothing can bring it back. His voice trembled as he said that if he could turn back time, he would choose a simpler life. A small home instead of a vast mansion, family dinners instead of extravagant parties, holding his wife's hand and playing with his children instead of chasing multi-million-dollar deals. He would rather have no titles at all but be able to watch his children grow, to hear laughter fill the house, to feel the warmth of his loved one's embrace. Those things, he realized too late, were true happiness. He confessed that he had been wrong to trade them all away, only to end up with loneliness and regret. With the frail voice of a man standing at the edge of life, he emphasized that money, status, and social prestige are fleeting illusions. They cannot follow us when we close our eyes for the last time. The only things that remain, the only things that can warm the human heart in its final moments, are love, the presence of family, and the gift of good health. He said that all he longed for now was to be healthy once more, to share a meal with his children, to hear his wife call his name, to live simply as an ordinary man in the arms of those he loved. That, he said, was the true treasure, the priceless wealth he would trade everything to have again, but sadly, it was far too late. If this video inspired you, hit like and subscribe. Comment yes if you agree, no if you don't. The lesson drawn from the old man's story is not just a simple reminder, but a profound awakening about how we are living and what we consider important. His entire life had been consumed by the pursuit of fame and recognition, believing that success was measured by titles, by the money in his account, and by the admiration of others. He was convinced that one more contract, one more successful project, one more appearance at an extravagant party meant one more step toward happiness. Yet as he approached the final days of his life, all of those things revealed themselves to be fleeting illusions, empty glimmers that could not soothe his loneliness, could not buy back a family dinner, and could not return the years of youth he had lost. What he truly longed for was not vast sums in the bank, not mansions or shining yachts, but simply the health to sit and talk with his children, the warm embrace of his wife, the joyful laughter of his family on an ordinary evening. Those seemingly small things were in fact the essence of true happiness, a happiness he had missed because he was too busy chasing after what was meaningless. The lesson he left us is that we should never sacrifice everything in pursuit of status, for status is only a fleeting shadow. It can disappear at any moment, and when we close our eyes for the last time, it holds no value at all. The most important thing each of us must safeguard is health, because only with health can we live fully and enjoy every moment with our loved ones. Health is priceless, and once it is gone, nothing can bring it back. Family, too, is an irreplaceable anchor, for they are the ones who love us unconditionally, who stand by us through both success and failure. A hug, a word of encouragement, a simple family meal can be worth more than the most glamorous banquet. And finally, there are a few true friends, those rare souls who will remain when we are struggling, when we are sick, when all the lights of glory have gone out. True friendship does not require numbers, just a few who will not abandon us even when we have nothing left to give. Life is short, time passes faster than we think, and no one knows what tomorrow will bring. That is why we must not waste our youth and strength chasing empty illusions. We must give our time to what truly matters, care for our bodies, cherish our families, and nurture genuine friendships. These are the treasures beyond price, the only possessions we will carry with us as we enter the final chapter of our lives. The lesson of the 86-year-old man is the clearest proof that wealth and fame cannot be taken with us in the end. Only love, health, and the bonds of real relationships will remain to walk beside us until the very last moment. When I left that hospital room that day, I carried with me a heavy heart, but also a profound awakening. I realized that money, status, and all the glittering lights of success cannot follow us when life comes to an end. What truly remains are the love we have given, the presence we have offered to those we cherish, and the memories we leave in their hearts. These simple things, which we often overlook, are in fact the priceless treasures, the eternal marks that continue to exist even when we no longer walk this earth. If today you still have your health, if you still have your family, if you still have true friends by your side, do not waste those precious moments. Do not wait until loss teaches you that the things you once thought were grand mean nothing compared to a smile, a shared family meal, a warm embrace, or a sincere word of care. We cannot control the length of our lives, but we can shape the quality of each day we live. Treasure the present, slow down enough to listen and to love, and give your time to what truly matters, instead of chasing endless races that lead nowhere. Because when the final chapter arrives, what will allow us to smile in peace will not be the balance in our bank account, but the beautiful memories we created with the people we love. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this. Comment more if you're ready for the next one.